Hey, 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 good morning.
Hello, how are you?
G'day, mate. How are ya? Hello, hello, hello. How are ya? How's your mum? Jumbo. Jumbo Marina. Ni hao ma. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. All right. Hey, ladies, what's cooler than cool? Ice cold. Anyways, anywho, welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of almost 20,000 currency traders. We're stationed around the world watching the clock, watching the charts, keeping our eyes on the prizes. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a subscriber of Forex.Today. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, but please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Hey. So my name is Wayne. I'm a currency trader. I love macroeconomics. I love technical analysis. I love fundamental analysis. We also look at things like monetary policy in central banks around the world and trade them against each other. We also look at things like seasonality and market psychology. So ask questions, get involved, and I'll do my best to help. Traders Way would like to earn your loyalty and respect. And they want an educated investor. They would like traders that are part of their community, if you will, the customer base, that actually maybe can actually trade profitably. Wouldn't that be great? So they value education. They want you to succeed. They want you to be the kind of trader that knows how to be patient, disciplined, conservative, finds repeatable trades, has consistent results. And that in particular, that you trade every day, because therefore then they provide you a service and they earn revenue from that providing of service. And if you trade every day, they provide a service to you every day. And then, so if you trade every day, every week, every month, all year, dude, you're a great client. Not because they're going to make billions of dollars on you, but instead they have a service to provide to you. Right? I mean, if you think about it, it's so awesome that they would value your ability to trade. So anyways, I'd like to thank Traders Way for being part of our community. They earn my loyalty and respect. Maybe if you give them a chance, they'll earn your loyalty and respect, and you'll have you'll have a relationship with an execution partner that you think will benefit your successful trading business. Oh, it's hot in Africa. Really? That's so strange. If you watch one of I think it's one of the opening scenes to Biloxi Blues, which is one of my favorite movies. They get off the train in Biloxi, Mississippi, and then I guess hot. It's Africa hot. Yeah. Anyways. So anyways, coolio. So let's take a look around the world. Dollar's weak. Yen is weak. Cool. Swissies gain strength. What? CAD is down. What? Pound is down. What? Euro hanging in there. Aussie, Kiwi, and stuff. And I'll show you why this is happening. It makes sense to me. So let's get on with it. Let's start with dollar. Okay. And yeah. So why is pound giving some back? Well, that's what that black line means. Isn't that nice? Coulda, shoulda, woulda known. Coulda, woulda, shoulda known. Okay. So we were on these trades Friday and then Sunday. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the poll. Sorry about that. Everyone wants to see dollars. So anyways, that's where I'm starting. So this harkens all the way back to Friday and to Sunday/Monday. And we've had some upward moves. I'm actually on this trade, and I can tell you, we were stuck here a very long time. Some of my trades were up like 50 to 75 pips, and this one was still kind of doing this, where it wasn't right, and then it was doing this. Like, it wasn't bad, but everything else was better. So anyway, so all of a sudden overnight, skyrocketed up, hit first level of resistance, and maybe being one of the weaker in the moment, gave back quickly. Makes sense to me. Perfectly fine. Question is, what do you want to do now, guys? I don't know if you're a bull or a bear. I can tell you what bears are thinking. Bears, don't get too aggressive. We haven't even tested this level, which is the nearest level of price action support. Now, dynamic support is here. And then, of course, you can drop into daily pivots and stuff. But I want you to get this idea there that, this is kind of what's still in play technically. But if you're a bear, you're going to want to, if you're a bear, you're going to want to hit this 21, have it make a lower high or double top, then down to the 55, and then a lower high off of this. Okay? And there's a lot that needs to happen before it truly becomes bearish. But nonetheless, some of you guys might say, you might see this. This is a bearish area up above us. We knew that days ago. So it's like, that's what I mean, like by this. This is not a shocker at all. Not at all, right? So, but you got to be careful. This is support and this area is support. So you got a couple of challenges if you're a bear. If you're a bull, these same challenge areas are buy zones. Okay. Is pound kiwi a wash? I have no idea. I'm not really a cross trader, nor am I a cross dresser. I'm a macro trader. I wouldn't cross trade, but you can, but I'm not really trading against you. I'm not doing that really. Okay. Taking a look at euro. Look at that. Same thing, right? So in this account, okay, entry. Well, actually, entry is back there, but whatever. And then this makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense, doesn't it? Like, dude, what more do you need, right? All right, so if you're a bull, this is a potential area right in here for bullishness. Okay, that kind of thing. But I'm telling you, this is a bear zone. This is a bearish area. And, dollar has been strong. So dude, that's legit, man. It's just how you do it that matters. Okay? So I think you might, even on the short run, do like a baby head and shoulders. But that's only going to get you down here, and then you kind of have to do a bigger head and shoulders. Now, I'm missing a 55 for some reason, but down to the 55, let's just call it this support, okay? Let's do it this way. Let's say maybe down to here, and then really this is the big deal. Okay? Oh, I saved my pretty charts for the paid members. Yeah. that whole $99, you know? So anyways, so, you know, what do you do? Well, let's do it this way. You start measuring. Oh, I got my ray on. That's right. My ray on. I got my ray on. Turn the ray off. Turn the radio off. All right. Do that sweet sound. Hold me close. Never let me go. All right. Anyways, I would look at that if I were a bull. Okay. That's a buy, and this is a continuation. Which means what? Well, if we don't continue, a bear is going to sell that hard. Hua? Okay. But what if you're a bull? Up, 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 down, down, buy. Up, 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 up. Down, down, buy? Question mark. And if so, wouldn't this be the continuation type trade? Okay, you get a higher high. And you can trade the break on the breach, or you can trade the roll reversal, or both, depending on how long you're in the chart. Okay. So, but you got to be careful. So let's go all the way out, as they say in Canada. This is a sell, bro, for a lot of people. Okay. It's a lot, right? So where are we now? So I have about 125 pips on it. Where am I here? Yeah, just over 100 now. So you can see if you were a bear, this is a sell and this is a sell. And I imagine there are still some bears in the world. Well, Oliver, I'm not sure your definition of Arctic turtle. I think you made the comment the other day that you finally calculated it. An Arctic turtle, by my definition, because I invented the name, has to do with, let's say this is your weekly aggressive target. Okay, so a weekly trader, a weekly swing trader, could only expect that as maximum potential, right? Now, what if that maximum potential was just below the monthly target? Okay, now they're not, so you can't have an Arctic turtle. But what if it was? What if that pink zone was higher, like about here? Then, to me, an Arctic turtle was a description of weekly traders taking it up to their weekly trade, but hanging on because the monthly traders are going to hit. And then monthly traders exit, weekly traders exit, and you get a fast reversal. It has to do with the turtles. The Arctic turtle is slow. Okay? So because he's in the snow, and turtles don't like snow. You get it? So the turtle stretches his neck out. The weekly swing trader stretches his neck out to catch the monthly target. So he stretches his neck out way out. Well, what happens to a slow turtle? A turtle that's slow to take profit gets its head chopped off. So I'm not sure what your definition is, but I just want to throw that out there. Okay. But for bearish trades, they see lower low, lower high, and they're going to drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. You got it? Not that it will happen. That's just what a bear would do. And the bears are probably going to try. Okay. Coolio, right? Great. look at Aussie Dog here. Same exact thing. Entry. And first, this is just the first test. Yes, I understand my limit is up here, but how would this play out price action wise? Would a bear sell this? Yep. I'm telling you, dude, seriously. Would a bear sell that? Yep. Yeah, they're going to sell it. So you can plan on that. You know what they're going to do before they do it. Great. Now, a bull is going to try to break this down because bears are just going to say, boom, that's it. Game over, done. Okay. So what would a bull think? A bull thinks, well, okay, but this is a 55. Okay, 55. So a bear would think, a bull would think maybe higher low, higher high. And by the way, bears are going to sell that too. So that would be down the rest of the, down to Thursday, up Friday, all the way up and hit maybe by Tuesday, we hit 72, in which there will be a pullback. Because now we're trading this stuff. What do you stink? So I would mark this. I would drop into a smaller time frame. Boom, boom, boom. What do you think? Should you mark this? Should you mark this? See, the thing is, you might be saying to yourself, this might come down, or this probably will come down. But you can then address that by saying, well, currently we have a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and this will continue until you get that. Has that happened yet? No. So you're like, oh yeah, I see the resistance. I got you. Okay? So you keep your eyes on the prize. Just don't be shocked if it's a down day today in the stock market. Some of my stocks were up 10 and 11% yesterday. Many of them were up 3, 4, and 5%. Yesterday. Think about it. If I think the stock market's going to have a 10% increase this year, right? It'll be 10% higher by the end of the year. 10% day is pretty damn good. Which means some of them may have been scalpers and they're in and now they're out. And now there's some. But here's the thing. I don't think the stock market's going to make a lower low. Now it can, of course. But I want you to understand my logic and not my opinion, because I don't really have an opinion. But what I looked at was some data that suggested perhaps maybe the short sellers that enjoyed the stock market drop of January took profit Thursday of last week. So whatever drop happens now in the stock market, or in this case, let's say some US dollar strength, has more to do with those that are late and they don't realize what's going on. They're nervous Nellies, stuff like that. And it's not the vast market selling hard, you know? Okay, the Republican Guard has left, and it's just conscript soldiers. That's my thought anyways, and I can't back that up, of course, but whatever. Okay? Good job, Brinsley. That's very nice. Yeah. Yeah, I bought it the day before the Fed meeting, I think. But I don't think mine's up 5.7. So, yeah, you might have bought it a day or two after and then bought it. Cool. But whatever. It's only money, right? Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Probably with the Thursday after or something. Yeah. Cool. So anyway, so you can remain up if you want. Okay. And you can remain up until it starts making lower lows and lower highs. So that's how I kind of mark these things. I hope you're getting better at marking up your charts. I like to think of them as little notes that I leave myself, because very often I'll draw these things on a higher level. So like, for example, you see these gray areas here? I did that like, dude, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. So think of it now on this 4-hour chart as a note to myself on a 15-minute chart. You see? And I'm like, oh, what is that? And I go to the 4-hour. I'm like, holy snap, look at that massive resistance zone. Look at that. That's redonkulous. Thank you, Wayne. Okay. And again, going out to here, you can see what I have going on. You can see, right? You can see inside my brain, right? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Cool. And I believe in my swing trading group or my day trading group, I don't remember which one, but we talked about this being a bullish up and this being a bearish down days and days ago, right? So now what? Well, which one are you? I don't see no horns, son, so which one are you? Officer and a gentleman. Google it. Nice, right? What do you stink? Cool. So, right, I think the short run is there's a bullish plan here and a bearish plan there. Make sure you know which one you is. Okay. USD kitty catty. Okay. So could be interesting, but I'm going to do this and then we're going to check out the energy complex. Check out this Supreme. Oh, I'm living low next to the base. Turn up the radio. Had to do it. Your enemy can be your friend or guardian. I'm not a hooligan. I rock the party and clear all the madness. I'm not a racist. I preach to teach. All right, cool. So let me zoom in here. Okay, we are approaching 2 standard deviations above the mean. Statistically, one might stink something like that. What do you stink? Smell like a plan? Now, if it doesn't do that, that is going to be technically interesting. Now, notice where we flipped here. 2 standard deviations below the mean, but also on something that we saw happen before we even got there, the central pivot. And now we saw the central pivot on the pound. We saw the central pivot on the euro. We saw the central pivot on the Aussie. Here's the central pivot on the kitty cat, and it did exactly what you would stink. So now the question is, does the market remain bullish or bearish? I don't know. That's your opinion. Okay, and you're going to have to deploy capital if you want to vote. Okay. So if we go higher, the problem is then you get 100% retracement. And that suggests probably breakout to the upside, or at the very least range bound to the sideways. So it can't really go higher than this 27 and remain bearish technically. So again, breaking this down, someone could argue it was bearish until we breached this. Okay? So it depends on the tools you use and your conviction for trend. But, okay, I'm telling you, a bull is thinking bottom, higher high, higher low. Okay, typical little role reversal there. Higher high, higher low, typical role reversal right there. And so they're thinking this. Whoop. Remember, Canada was supposed to raise interest rates and they didn't. Well, now maybe they're getting punished. Trudeau has COVID. You can't cross the U.S.-Canadian border right now because of all the truckers. Johnny says, "You eyeballing me, boy?" Well, we have a kinder, friendlier, more inclusive military now, so I'm sure they're just like, "Oh, well, tell us what you want to do." "I want to work in a submarine." "Okay, that sounds really nice. Let's do that." My kids were in basically air cadets. Think of it as Army cadets, but you get to fly airplanes, right? Cool. But they also do a lot of survival stuff and search and rescue stuff, and my kids are certified to be on radios, and they've been all this kind of stuff. But my son quit. He was going to be. He was making it. His next rank up was a lieutenant. But the interesting thing is, he went on one of these survival things, and they served hot cocoa around the campfire, and he quit. So my son's not in favor of the kinder, gentler military. He's like, "What the hell is this? Cocoa? Dude, join Girl Scouts if that's what you want." I just thought that was funny. Like, he's deadly serious about it too. He's like, nope. He's the kid out there with the ruler measuring the distance of the pin on your collar, and like, right? So as soon as they start serving hot cocoa in the military, he's like, "I'm out of here." All right. So anyways, let's. I just want you to have one more look at that. Which direction is this going next? So a bear, let's say you're a big bear now. Your timing might be wrong here for selling. As you know, if you sold up here, there's only two places where this is going to rise, and that's one of them. So if you don't see that coming, I'm telling you, look, if you don't see some of these things coming, join FX Bootcamp. It's not a sales pitch, whatever, dude. Yeah, whatever. You need, I mean, dude, it's $88. Take the damn course. If you don't see this coming, you got a problem. So now that we're here, if you're a bear, your next best opportunity is probably something like this, which acknowledges and respects bulls. That's the thing. Like once you really start to become sort of like Neo and you start to see the Matrix, it's when you can see the bulls and the bears. That's when you start to get good. You're like, oh yeah, if I was a bull, I'd buy that. So take profit. Give me my money. Let them buy it. Dude, let them buy it. Let them buy it. And then up here, you're like, yeah, I'm going to sell here. I'll take 2 days, so I'll wait. And then you get up there and you're like, yep, that's my turn because I got the double top. I got the lower high. I'm going to take the shot. It's all mine. We're making a lower low. It's all good. Everything's great. Okay? But right now, you know, how low is the pullback? Not very at all. Okay? That right? Does that look bearish to you? That does not technically look bearish. So if you're a bear, you have to ask yourself the bigger question. Well, what would make it technically bearish and what kind of price action would lend to that? This would look more bearish. That changes a lot. This, my friend, that, my friend, changes nothing. Okay? Doesn't mean that that's going to happen, but we're now talking about technical analysis. Okay? So, yeah, make your decision. Know if you're a bull or a bear. Don't react to this because, right? It's like if you had a trade plan, you're probably long already or out. And if you believe, let's say fundamentally or based on seasonality or based on oil prices or based on whatever, you might say, well, I'll try, right? You might have shorted here, so you're going to short there. You can short it here, you can short it there. Okay? Whatever. But right now, it's probably more like that. Cool. Cool. Right on. Good. Good. Great. Fine. Okay? Fine. 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 Okay. Robbing and stealing. All right, so right on schedule. Dollar weakening against Sweden. Lower low. Lower high. Roll reversal. Lower low. Lower high. Right? Roll reversal. Okay. Lower low. Lower high. Roll reversal. Lower low. Maybe. So what's the most important thing right now? That. La la la, la la la. So now what am I eyeballing? I'm eyeballing this. What do you guys think of that trade plan? Some people got COVID. I got Coldplay. Sorry. Oh, you can't see the price? Oh, okay. Let me adjust. But for some reason I can't explain. Ooh. Is that better? You guys know what these little black dots are? Let's look at the most recent ones. I'll explain here. Let me use dark gray. If you had sold this pullback, okay, then price is down here, right? Your stop should be here. If you sold here, okay, so your position is now down here, your stop should be here. Isn't that nice to have training wheels? Yes, but it's still cutting off. All right, all right, all right, all right. Conrad says parabolic SARS. That's funny. Yeah, what? Yeah. Do you know it's actually SARS? Do you know what SARS is a disease? But anyways, yeah. Do you know what that stands for? My pleasure, Marina. Anything for you. Yes, stop and reverse. Now, if you take a course from a guru and they say, when this is up here, you should sell, and when this is down here, you should buy, and they're like, see how good this is? Stop listening to them. Because it looks good here, but realize you're not actually selling until, you're way down here or something like that. It's not really what it's for. So again, the way I'm teaching you is it's giving you a suggestion on stop placement. It's not telling you to enter the trade, okay? But it's telling you where stop placement is based. Is it a trailing stop? Trailing stop? No. So how does it do it? It's looking at volatility. It's trying to let the winners run. And soon as you lose volatility, aka consolidation, aka you just hit support or resistance, then it jams the stop to lock in profit quickly because you've lost volatility. Okay? So you can see, like, when we went from here to here, the change in stop was almost zero. Okay? And then during this consolidation period, you see how long we were here? Look at the change. We went from the stop being here to the stop being way down here. See how quickly, right? This consolidation versus this consolidation. Okay, this one hardly moved at all. This one moved a lot. So we went from this distance from the top to the bottom to this distance, right? So probably 4 or 5 times bigger move. Well, what it's doing is jamming the stop, locking in profits because it's not moving. Cool. So right now, if you traded off the 21, super simple trade. Again, if you don't understand that, dude, take the training course. Just stop it. Pay the $88, get over it. Take the course, get on board. Okay? That's an easy trade. All this is suggesting now is because there's lots of volatility, keep your stop far away and let your winner run. Now, if there's giant volatility against you, well, then it'll take you out. But barring that, it's trying to hope. It's hoping that you get volatility for you, which is great. And then it'll move the stop hardly anything on the next candle. Okay? Because it's trying to say, dude, this is probably going to happen, and we want you to stay in the trade. What the video is so bad? The video is bad? I'm getting wirelessly 653 megabits per second. So it shouldn't be. Let me try again. Maybe it dropped. No? It's not bad for Wi-Fi. So the video should be fine, man. Upload is, enough. That's enough. Boys, I'm down in day. Yeah. Oh, I see. He's on. Greg, I must have missed it. Greg's on his TV. Oh. Got to get that 8K OLED. Hey, I went to Best Buy the other day. I think I'd fire everybody at that store. My son was with me, and he's like, yeah, I think it's going to go out of business. I'm like, son, before you were born, I went to Best Buy and thought it was going to go out of business. But we walk in. There's nobody at the front door. We walk around the store. I check out about 8 different exhibits like, hey, listen to these speakers, right? And they got the little like, press this button to listen. And, all 6 displays were broken. A manager walked right by me and watched me going click, 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 click. Hey, it doesn't work. He walked right by me because he was busy doing his manager shit. I'm like, dude, take care of me. Notice that it's not working. Send a salesperson over to do something, save the day. So anyways, we spent about 45 minutes in this place. Nobody wants to help us. Just amazing. And so then my son and I, we go into the Magnolia area where they sell like $10,000 TVs and $5,000 speakers and stuff. And there's 2 employees in there behind the desk. We walk right in. We look at 2, 3, 4 different TVs. We're talking out loud about them and how cool that they're thin and the high resolution. It's not even the resolution, but the photography of the sample videos they're running. Then we go in the secret little back room where they sell you the amazing, the amazing speakers and all that kind of stuff. We look around there and all that kind of stuff. And they still don't have laser projectors, even though I've had that in my movie theater for 3 years now. And then we walk back out and they just stare at us and they're busy talking about something. And then we leave. They never even approached us. I'm like, just fire everybody in this stupid store. Fire them all. Just like, dude, you got nothing better to do than fix the damn display or ask a customer for support? And the interesting thing is, there's a lot of inventory missing because of COVID and stuff. So, like, what did they do all day? It's just funny, man, right? Like, what do you do all day? Amazing. Just, hey, look, a customer. Why aren't they like freaking out? Like, holy crap, a customer came in. Let's rock this guy's world, everybody. Come on, snap, jump to it. Yeah. But you get good service in China. Okay. You go to a Ritz-Carlton, which is supposed to be a high-end hotel. In America, the service sucks. Sucks. And then you go to China, it's amazing. Well, I got the B&R on. I mean, dude, how much bigger of a watch do you have, right? And I don't know. So I had that rocking. I was rocking the B&R. But anyways, so it's interesting that I think it's become cultural now. Yeah, but it's cultural. It's it's embedded into the culture. People do not know how to provide service, and for some reason, they're not trained. Well, actually, that's kind of cool, eh, Dwayne? But yeah, at least he helped you. But why wouldn't they just sell them to you right then and there at the online price? But whatever. All right, so let's look at, so we're done that. We're done. Let's do some commodities, man. Yeah, funny though, yeah. Okay, check it out. I trapped this for you. Okay, now, I left this as an open-ended question for the day trading group because I said, look, I trapped this horizontally for you guys last week, okay? So we know that that exists. The thing is, what is your bias? Do you have somewhat of a bias this way or somewhat of a bias this way, or are you totally comfortable having this trap sideways? And to each his own. Because remember, there isn't a right answer. There's a methodology to your madness. So I'm just throwing it out there. Which one is you and which one is you ain't? Okay? Marina. But you know what, Marina? If I went to a fancy hotel in South Africa, I bet you the service is good. I guess I shouldn't bet you because you're going to know more than me. So I would expect the service is quite good. I remember in India, I was at the Taj in Jaipur, I think it was. And I mean, you're literally staying in a palace, which is quite awesome. And so one of the days I just want to hang out, and we're out on the back grass lawn, and there's a nice pool, and there's tennis courts. I'm like, oh, grass tennis courts. So in America, unless you're in a private club, you've never really played tennis on grass courts. But I'm like, wow, was it grass or clay? Maybe it was clay. But still, like, dude, I've never played on clay tennis courts before. Right? So I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. So anyways, I go check it out. And so I walk out there and I'm with a buddy or two. And one of the employees sees that I'm checking it out, like a grounds worker or something. And all of a sudden you see very quickly he's on the radio. And someone else comes out, like a service person. Kind of like a butler. Okay, he's a butler. Anyway, so our butler shows up. And he's like, oh, do you want to play? I'm like, oh, I've always wanted to. Do you guys have rackets we can borrow? He's like, yeah, let me take care of this. Anyways, so he comes back and he's got all the equipment for all of us, tennis balls, tennis rackets, everything is all great. And he drops them all off. And then we start playing, and he comes back like 20 minutes later. He's got like cucumber water and lemon water, and he's got towels chilled in ice, and then he's got dry towels, and they're bringing all. And I'm like, I didn't have to tell him either, right? That's the thing. It was just like, this guy's thinking levels ahead. I'm like, oh, and we had such a great time. It was a hot day in Jaipur. If you've ever been to Jaipur, there ain't no cold days. So anyways, we're having this great time and just totally took care of us, right? Right? Just amazing, right? And I have similar stories around the world where the service was just above and beyond, but I don't see that. At least maybe Ritz-Carlton's not that nice anymore. Maybe it's just a Marriott with better sheets or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I have that, right, where I'm a Marriott guy, so I stay at Ritz-Carlton's a lot. And I can compare Ritz-Carlton to Ritz-Carlton to Ritz-Carlton in America and then a Ritz-Carlton outside of America. And you see a radical difference. It's really amazing. You're like, wow, why? I remember another great example. I was flying China Eastern. I was flying from like Chengdu to Beijing, first class. It was kind of interesting. And you get in and they whisk you to your seat, and it's women that serve you on the airplane, and very, very quiet. Like I don't even know if they said words, just so quiet. And the first thing they do is they sit you down, they give you some water, and then they get on their hands and knees and take your shoes off. I'm like, holy smokes, this is awesome, right? And it's great. And they whispers things. Do you want this? Do you want that? And they bring you pillows and they bring you blankets and they bring you a drink. And it's all very quiet and very respectful and all that. And then I get onto another airline, again, non-American, and I'm flying, I guess, now from Beijing to Tokyo. And once again, very quiet, very respectful, take your shoes off for you, never stand above you, right? That's why they kneel a lot and stuff. They don't want to be taller than you. So, and they're right, and they're doing all this, and they're putting slippers on your feet. And I'm like, this is so great. And then on Tokyo, you switch over. Now I'm like first class on Delta. And this big American woman from Texas, she's like, hey, can I get you a drink? She's yelling at you. And then I'm like, wait, you haven't even taken my shoes off and put my slippers on, right? It's just so funny. And you're so happy if they take your coat and put it in the closet. You're like, even that, I don't think even happened. It was just funny. And they're like throwing you cans of Coke. Hey, you want a Coke? Here's a Coke. And you got to catch it in the air. And, oh, here's a bag of potato chips. I'm like, potato chips? Where's my escargot? Right? And it was just, but it was funny because I had been in Asia so long that it was shocking that how she was like basically yelling at me. And I'm like, whoa, I'm back home, man. Back home. So again, those are those interesting cultural differences that you can only get through travel. Okay. Nonetheless, I think oil has potential to go back up, but right now, if you're a bear, you're probably thinking about this from the point of view of maybe a head and shoulders type thing. But I prefer this to go up a little more until maybe March. I think would be kind of a cool move. Okay. And then of course, geopolitical risk and supply constraints, right? Yeah, Johnny. So I've flown first class on Emirates, and they're actually the one above that. There's something higher than first class. So I'm sitting at the back of the plane. I think I was flying from Hong Kong to Dubai, and I'm at the back, and there's a full bartender, lounge area. I'm sitting in a lounge chair, actually on a couch, I think, and I was drinking the Jack Daniel's Double Black. They had much better stuff, but I hadn't had this stuff before, right? So I'm like, right. So I'm having my cocktail and I'm having a snack, and there's two guys at the bar talking to the bartender, like full on lounge, right? Having my cocktail and stuff. And this was after, in my seat. It's a huge seat, of course, like a pod. But next to you, they had not just sort of like an armrest, but in the armrest, they had a bar, which was pretty good, right? in the armrest. I'm like, oh shoot, that's unique. Usually you don't have your own bar, but they had little drinks and stuff. But then and some built-in snacks or something. I forget what it was. But anyways, when you want to go back to the main lounge, you can just walk back there. You get up, walk back there, and you hang out. And so that was the first time I had done that, where you're hanging out in the lounge. But what I thought was really cool is when you get back and you're ready to sleep, you press a button. Okay? Or I think you could even schedule it. I think I scheduled it while I was at the bar. Anyways, it's time for me to go sleep. You sleep. And I remember I was so tired. It was crazy. So I had my meal, and of course it was a nice meal. You expect all that, right? And I had Dom Perignon as an aperitif and all that. So whatever. It's nice, right? All right. So it's time to go Betty bye. And what happens is they lay your chair out. It goes perfect, perfect flat, right? But then they put a Tempur-Pedic mattress on your bed, and then they bring out sheets, and they bring out blankets, and then they tuck you in, and you got like a 32-inch TV that you can watch, right? And so the Tempur-Pedic was again one extra step that I was used to. A lie flat pod. Okay, done that a million times. But Tempur-Pedic mattress, I'm like, okay, that's sweet. So yeah, it's pretty good, Johnny. Is that right, Moreno? You have more U.S. tourists this year than the European ones. Interesting. All right. All right. So that's that. Brent is obviously going to do something very similar. You can see it's happening right on the exact price you would expect it to happen. Okay. So the question is, how far down? Is it here to here or here to here? I don't know. You have to understand. I don't know. This is why you got to have technical analysis and do some planning. Okay? Because if it comes down here, it's going to do it this way, and then it's going to recover, and then it's going to have a higher high, low, and then off we go. But if you think it's going down here, then you're going to expect different behaviors, right? You're probably going to do more like this. What? That's really interesting. I'm thinking about that, Marina. That's really interesting. More U.S. tourists this year because there's no Europeans, right? Because I guess they just can't leave at all. But are Americans flying to South Africa? Really? South Africa got such negative press when Omicron came out, right? Because they're like, oh, it's South Africans. No, they found it, bro. They found it and reported it. But in American media, South Africans did it. It's South Africa's fault. So really, and then add insult to injury, then the South African plane that landed in Germany or something, and like 20% of the people on the plane had Omicron. They had COVID. 20% of the people on the plane had COVID. So then that comes out in the media. And then, of course, the first American with Omicron got it in South Africa and brought it home. Like, oh, you're like, dude, it was just bad press, bad press, bad press. Really? Are Americans getting on the plane and flying to South Africa? Interesting. I'd like to visit. I just didn't think I could. But how interesting. That's really super strange. Okay. So don't forget to always mark your lines, leave little notes for yourself, because now I've already done this for you, but now what do you think about this? Now that I've done that. Okay? Now that you see where the daily 21 is. Now you're like, well, that looks good. Uh-huh, I know, right? Yeah. You're right, Srav. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, all right. Right on, right on. And Biddy. Still not up, still not down. Well, congratulations. That's really good. Maybe I should buy some Rand, huh? What does this tell me? If I'm reading the charts correctly, of course I am. Okay, we're on our way down here. 1471. From 1571 to 1471. Okay? It doesn't get interesting until we're in this zone here. But let's put it together. Lower, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. You see that? There's an interesting consolidation going on here. Breach of the 21, lower high. So now you got lower low, lower high. So. Now this is tricky. This is like a correction here. But nonetheless, if you're using pivot points, this says here. It literally says 1571 to 1471. Cool. So now we're in day 2 of the move. Sweet. Now, are you ready for this? If you don't have the bias, then what does it say to you? This is the price for up. And then, of course, double bottom. So it'd be kind of cool if it does one of these things. You might get a second chance as a bear. If you didn't take the first chance, this is your second chance. And if you don't get the second chance, I don't know what you're doing. Okay? So if we go back to January, okay, this price suggests this price. So this price suggests this price. Cool. Down, up, down. What do you stink? Sí, señor. Muy bien. So here's a trade that the swing trading group and the day trading group discussed day after day after day after day, that as we approach 21, we want to drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Okay? You get what? 100% pullback. Then you get the lower high and gone. Huh? Good job. Okay? Golden. Okay, to go back a little bit to add more data, we already had it marked this way. Okay, you see how I marked, let's go back to here. You see this? I marked this out weeks ago for you. Weeks ago. Hey, you're welcome. See? I measured the here to here. This is a 618 Fibonacci on a roll reversal near a psych level. Okay. Great Cal, Wayno. What defined Cal? Tell me more about why I'm great. Okay. So we got this, man. This is peso. Interest rates are at 4% and going higher. Loving that. Okay. Oh, great call. Sorry. No, well, it's not a call. I know what you're saying, but you know, I'm always nitpicky. Yeah. So let's just say conclusion or something. But like, this is like, I wouldn't say this is a great call. It's just another trade. It's just like, that's just how you're supposed to do it. Like, we literally spent a week waiting for it to rise and then enter this. It's just it. I mean, it's not even a call. It's just, I don't know. Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, analysis. I don't, yeah. But even then, I don't know. Anyways, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. But, yeah. Plan and execute. Yeah, you know, yeah, I guess the way I feel about it is like, I'm glad it's working, but it's just what you do. It's like telling somebody that they did a good job walking around the block. Now, if you're reasonably healthy and reasonably active, you're like, dude, I walked around the block. You're like, yeah, good job, man. That was such a good job. I just wanted to let you know. You're like, dude, I just walked around the block. Like, it's nothing, dude, right? It's just, I don't know why you're telling me this, right? So anyway, so I apologize. It's just how, it's just how I felt, kind of thing. So anyways, interesting. Right? And again, too, that's like Victor's plan. Victor laid that out 2 weeks ago, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to sell it at 21. I'm like, right on. So I'd give Victor more credit than myself. But that is how you do's. That is how you do's it. All right, so what are we looking at now? Aussie. If you're going to play it, you're going to play it. And you can see your opportunity to play it's probably already done. I typically use the bottom of the shoulder. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't recall the specific convo. But typically what you do is you take the bottom of the left shoulder, you project the bottom of the right shoulder. If you're doing the breakout type trade, right? Or inverse head and shoulders, if you want to call it that. I don't remember this one. I don't know. Maybe off this. Maybe 80. I don't remember this. But anyways, nonetheless, if you're thinking about it now, you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're about 5 to 10. You're somewhere between 6 and 12 hours late. Where were you here? Where were you here? Why are you now just waking up into this trade? So obviously there's resistance here. I don't know how you want to play that, right? If you, for example, if you find yourself waking up or find yourself, you go to your charts, and you find you're always at resistance, but you want to buy, or you always find yourself at support, but you want to sell, you need to change the time that you trade. So one of the first things you learn in FX Boot Camp is timing of your trades, and not using oscillators and moving average, but literally the clock. Can't I just leave pending orders? Yeah, but my point is a lot of people get in now or want, come to their charts now and they're looking to buy this. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, how could you, like, what are you doing? Right? I get frustrated. So yeah, can't you use limit orders? Yeah. So when you're up here, what do? You throw down a limit order down here. So, but a lot of people get in now. They want to trade now, and I'm like, okay, what? Okay, bulls buy low, bears sell high, and ideally during trends that are favorable for these conditions. Okay, losers do neither of those things. So, like, I'm not sure what somebody's thinking now that walks in and trades now. Okay? So, there was a time, like, not long ago when I showed you higher highs on, like, 8 pairs. And I think every single one of those is now up. But I said, once you get a higher high, what do? And we did stuff like this. You pick a bottom, you zip over, you throw down a limit order, or you buy it down here. And like every single one of them are now moving up. So I always scratch my head like, what the hell is somebody doing here? I just don't understand the behavior of some traders. I'm like, what are you doing? Right? So just got to be careful. Okay, CAD's weak right now. Okay, see how we have it trapped? So, for example, okay, a bull is going to buy here, right? Why? It's a higher low. A bear is going to sell here. Why? It's a lower high. And so somebody's doing something now, correct? And I scratch my head. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Right? There's only 2 things on this chart. So like, I don't understand somebody that is doing something now in there. Like, who's trading now? Right? It's the giant sucking sound of mediocrity. Yeah, I mean, all that's pretty basic. Peter's like, so how do you know these levels? That's actually a fairly basic question. Okay. Bulls, oh, and look at that, little large here. I mean, that's a fairly basic question here. Bulls buy at support. So all you have to do is, if you understand support and resistance, the rest is easy. Now, there's 2 types of support. There's double bottoms. Okay. And there are higher lows. I prefer the higher lows. Okay. But bulls buy at support. Okay. Ideally in an uptrend. So imagine you have an uptrend. Now you know bulls are very excited to buy in support. They're probably not going to get a double bottom because it's trending and double bottoms don't exist in trends. So they're buying higher lows. So for example, look, that's redonkulously obvious. Okay? Okay? Here's your higher high. Do bulls buy higher highs? No. No. Bulls do not buy higher highs. What do they buy? Higher lows. Okay, grab the role reversal. Simple price action. Okay, now you say, well, how do you know it's going to go up? Oh, I don't. I don't. But if it is going to go up, it's going to do this. Why? What are those? Okay, higher lows. What do bulls buy? Higher lows. Higher low. Okay, this is what? Double bottom. The birth of an uptrend makes a higher high. Great! Now what is a bull going to buy? Higher low. Cool. We breach above this trap. Higher low. Up to resistance. Higher low. Breach of resistance. Now we got a new higher high. What are you going to do next? Buy a higher low. Then it makes a higher high. Then what are you going to do? Buy a higher low. Then it makes a double top. What are you going to do? Take profit. You're done. Go to the museum. Okay, Peter? Price action alone. Jim says pivot points and stuff, very helpful, but price action alone will tell you. So for example, let's say price does this, Peter. By the way, Peter, are you with me? Let me know if you're with me. If I'm just talking out loud to people that already know this, then I'll cut back. But if you're with me, let me know, Peter. Cool. Okay, so we got double bottom, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Okay, what's going to happen here, Peter? And if you don't know, type in a question mark. Oh, thank you. Well, no, it is resistance. It is. It's not like what's going to happen there. Oh, yeah, well, it's resistance. But do bulls buy at resistance? Okay. So now let's reverse the rules for bears. Bears do what? They sell double tops, which is the opposite of buy double bottoms. They sell double tops and they sell lower highs. Right? So what do we call this? We'll call it a double top. Now you might be confused because that's there. Whatever. It's a top. It's resistance. Bulls don't buy at resistance. Bears sell at resistance. So you know there's something likely to happen there. Now, a bull might be very interested in this because they're like, dude, we already had a double top. It dropped, and they still haven't gotten on board. Well, we don't know that for sure. So let's clear this out. Let's follow the logic that I've lined out here. So we know what bears are thinking. We know what bulls are thinking. So what have bears actually done? Did bears sell a double top? Could we define that a double top? Yes, for sure. I wouldn't call that a double bottom or a higher low. So it's a double top or it's a lower high. Well, that looks like a double top. Okay, what's supposed to happen? It's supposed to make a lower low. Here it is, lower than this low. See? So what is a bear going to do now? Well, what about this area? Is that a double top? No. Is it a lower high? Yes. So a bear's going to do this. The question, what we don't know is, are there enough bears to take out all the bullish trades? Well, I don't know that. You don't know that. But I know where the bears are going to sell, and I know where the bulls are going to buy, and it's not complicated. Okay? Yes, it's a form of role reversal. So now you got to zoom in a little bit. Na, 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 na. Okay? So look at, right? Support, right? You're looking at all this kind of stuff, right? So you say this is a supportive zone. I just drew the gray box, so whatever. Okay. Okay. So do not buy here if you're a bull, because remember, bulls bought this, right? Bulls are supposed to buy this. Great. But don't buy here, don't buy here, don't buy here. Why? Why would you not buy there? Because that's where the bears are going to sell. See, you already know before it's happened. Someone's going to do this. So, like I said, there's only two plausible scenarios here. Okay, now what happens? What do we call this now? What was resistance has become support. So now that's a higher low because we had a higher high here. So that's going to create a higher low. Okay, so I can tell you, bears live here, bears live here. Right now there's a bull here and a bull's here. Wait, so let's do this in different colors just so I can separate these in your mind. Windmills in your mind. A bull would buy here and a bull would buy here. You're like, well, Wayne, how could that be? That's the same price that a bear would buy. Oh, but different timing. Okay? A bull would buy it if we go make a higher high, higher low, pa-chow, they buy it. Target up there. Okay? A bear is going to do something similar but different. Okay? And then probably one of these, right? Same thing. Support became resistance. Okay? This is why I'm like, well, what are these idiots doing? I have no idea. I really don't know what's going through their mind. I didn't know. Because again, I only see two trades. Okay? Buy it here, buy it there. Sell it up high, sell it up high. Like I don't know what these other people do. Too little, too late, 8 hours late, 12 hours late. It's not going to work on the long run. If you're that far behind, I don't know if they're 12 hours late or 12 hours early. Right? So anyways, you can see that the best outcome over long periods of time is that they're going to break even. Okay? That's it. They'll just break even. Do-da. Do-da. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Oh, do-da day. Let's stock market open. Let's take a look. Let's do market watch, I guess. Ten-year T-note stable. Okay, very stable. There's the market open. Cool. Let's take a look. S&P 500 flat, NASI flat. Oil down 1%. Cool. Hey, I read something. The Lamborghini Urus is just a Porsche Cayenne Turbo. Isn't that interesting? I didn't know. The Turbo GT. Uh-oh, bad press about Brad Pitt. So a friend of mine is a billionaire and lives next door to Brad Pitt in New Orleans. I'm like, you know, B-Dog, right on. What's up, Pitt? All right. So the table is set. Okay. You should already have everything all planned out. Everything should be golden. Everything should be golden. Okay. Okay. Okay, remember the lesson I gave you about trapping this? Not sure what time frame to put this on. But if it comes down, you're basically on a shorter time frame, probably want to be out. So like you could move your stop like this, for example. I don't know how many pips is that? 100 pips. I got 100 pips. That's 100 pips. So almost 100 pips. Paul, we have already had World War III and World War IV. Who was World War III against? It was the United States and whom? Whom was the American adversary? Not Russia. The Soviets. There's a difference. America beat the Soviet Union. Instead of using bombs, it used US dollars. Yeah. Cool. Okay, great. World War IV was against China. Communist, socialist China. One of the poorest countries on earth before the end of World War IV. So America beat socialist communist China by using US dollars. in this case, instead of bankrupting them, by investing into them, showing what GDP growth can do to things like standard of living. Okay? China used to have something ridiculous like 70 or 80 or 90% of China 35, 40 years ago lived below the poverty line. Now it's 1%. So World War IV was between the United States mostly and China. We used US dollars instead of bombs and bullets, and killed the socialist part of communist China. Now they're communist capitalists. Big difference. Okay. Communism didn't make China poor. Socialism did. Communism never made the Soviet Union poor. Socialism did. Communism didn't make Cuba poor. Socialism did. Okay? How about Argentina? Used to have the same GDP as Canada. They were never communist, but they became socialist and now are dead broke poor. Socialism is the problem. So Cuba's going to become free. Socialism's going to leave. And I'll probably retire in Cuba. I'll have a nice ranch. I'll have some cattle. I'll grow some nice tomatoes. Going to have, right, some nice tobacco so I can have my cigars. Maybe up on the mountain we'll have some great coffee growing. Oh, man. Right? To have some cattle, healthy cattle, fresh seafood, warm breeze. My goodness. Nurko says, define socialism. Okay, there's a big question, right? I mean, boy, you could write an entire paper on that. But let's just say where the masses are rewarded, not the individual. Okay, you got to be careful of the illusion and romanticism of the greater good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy. JP says, hey, fascinating analogies. Right on. Now, the funny thing is, if you're hanging with the Wayne 20 years ago, I would have given you the same speech. Oh, like the socialism of the Nordic countries? I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that. Isn't socialism, well, helping the vulnerable? I'm open to that idea. And that is, let's say, if it worked, it would be good. Okay, Nurko? So I'm not against the idea. I'm not like I know capitalism is also flawed. Well, Maida's like, Robin, that's not socialism. It's a more socialist leaning version of capitalism. And yes, as long as you are capitalist, you'll find. But anyways, going back to Nurko, capitalism is flawed for sure. And it's actually well documented what happens with capitalism and the boom and bust cycles that it creates. And part of that boom and bust cycle is created from wealth inequality. But if you took central banks and governments away, right, what would happen without central banks and without central governments is that the rich would get fabulously rich, and then the whole thing would collapse, and the fabulously rich lose everything. And then income inequality, well, is radically addressed because now everybody has nothing. Everybody goes through some pain. It might take a few years, and then we rebuild again. Okay? And then at the end of the cycle, you have massive income inequality. Some people are fabulously rich. They're practically royalty. And then a lot of people are just getting by. Okay? And then the cycle collapses and repeats. Now, the problem is that, that's perpetual. That would go on and on and on and on. Periods of where a lot of people are doing well, and then periods where everybody's doing bad. But it would rebuild and repeat, and it would go on forever. But then the government comes in and says, well, it's too painful. Let's get involved and try to smooth this out. Well, then what they do is they create a cycle that ends. Okay? Because the way you fix it is to actually create short-term solutions with long-term problems. And after a while, and it's about 75 years, capitalism, when controlled and managed by a central government, eventually gets to the same conclusion of total bust, their debt becoming worthless, their currency becoming worthless. And then a new power emerges. And you see this even in the stock markets, right? Where you could be AOL king of the world one day, and then you're bankrupt, dissolved, worthless, and Google is king of the world. That kind of stuff, right? And it can happen, but it also happens to economies, not just companies. James says it's not really about the money because the very top in power all do well in either system. Okay, yes. But Jeff Bezos is fabulously wealthy, and Elon Musk is fabulously wealthy. How did they do it? Did they trick everyone? Did they take it from people? Was it taken from other people by the government and then given to them? No, they created value. And they're fabulously wealthy. In a socialist pig dog country, yeah, the government's going to rape and pillage and they're going to take money from the poor people because ain't nobody rich, and they're going to put that money in their pocket. Free vacations to the Black Sea with their girlfriend in the big chalet, or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So I would rather, instead of stealing from the poor, aka the masses, I would rather create value. Nurko says, so wouldn't you agree that the right thing to do is somewhere in between? Well, that's what democracy is trying to do. So you'll see the ebb and flow in America, for example, and places like Canada. One party's in control, then the other party's in control, then this and that and the other thing. But then that creates a loop as well. And what that does is the parties become more and more polar. Okay, so Ray Dalio says one of his biggest concerns is that in the next this election in 2 years and the next subsequent elections, you get to the point where the party will want to win at all costs. Well, that's not democracy. Democracy is hashing it out and then agreeing in principles that meet somewhere in the middle so that you can get that idea of you're somewhere in between pure socialism and pure capitalism, because we know both are not ideal. So you're right, somewhere there's probably not even a real middle, but over the course of time, let's say a standard deviation from that mean, okay, but not polar opposite outliers. But yes, if you could hash it out, you could get somewhere in between. But what's going to happen is you're going to have radical capitalism or radical socialism in a democracy like the United States, and that could lead to the end. That could be a very bad thing for the United States. And Jimmo says already there's no center. That's dangerous. Because now you're not getting to equilibrium like Nurko is saying, well, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have some sort of balance in there? Well, that's the risk. There's no middle ground. Okay? Okay. Is that I did that? I don't know. Did I compare Dalio to Musk? I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I mentioned them. I don't know if I compared them. I don't know how I would compare. Oh, maybe. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know what I did there, but that they're both interesting people. Yeah, well, sort of. Yeah, okay, cool. Right on. Probably a good podcast. Meta says, used to be middle ground. It's being destroyed by the left. But that isn't possible unless the right is also destroying it. So one would argue, for example, that when you get polar opposites and win at all cost attitudes, what happens is you get people elected that are not really politicians. You get sort of populist uprisings and populist change the world messages, which is different from managing an economy and a society, right? Isn't that what a government's supposed to do? Right? Aren't they supposed to manage society, collect some taxes, build some bridges, that kind of stuff? But when it becomes an agenda, and there's agendas on both sides, but when it becomes like team-based, that's a problem. So, for example, Trump won, and he had to become a Republican because he wasn't in a party. Remember that? They're like, you can't run for president if you're not in a party. And he's like, well, I guess I have to be a Republican because I ain't no Democrat, right? But all of a sudden, and then he wins. And there's something to that, a non-politician running a government. Well, like central bankers are generally economists, we have one that's not. Okay. Our current central banker is not an economist. Isn't that weird? It's unusual, and usually bad things happen. Do you guys remember when I told you about that? How many people remember when Jay Powell won, or even before he even was officially at the Fed? I said the mistake, the risk here is that based on what we've seen in the past, when you put a non-economist in charge of the Fed, you get high inflation. You guys remember that? This is like at the very beginning. Okay? But anyway, so when you have a non-economist run a central bank, you can run into problems. The second thing is when you put a non-politician, like, aren't you supposed to get a law degree and take a bunch of civics classes and political economics classes and know how the government works and all that kind of stuff, and then spend your whole life in, service of society? And you really get the inner workings, right? So to elect someone without that is a really interesting sign anyways. And it shows that you have to be extreme. And so this isn't a dig on Trump. It's just that's what people voted for, and it's kind of interesting. So we'll see. I mean, this is all game theory and such, right? And behavioral psychology. Well, okay, so Lagarde, yes, former politician, yes. However, she is an economist. She was the finance minister of France. She did run the World Bank, and now she's in charge of the ECB. So I would say she's at least a little bit qualified. Shouldn't the president be in the military? No. That's not how it was designed. Robin says, my take is that a country would benefit from affordable childcare and education. Yeah. Sure. That would be a decision for the society to make. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that, Russ. Darko, that was Princeton. Yeah, Robin, I wrote a paper about redesigning an economy, a capitalist economy. And the center of that, of course, is entrepreneurialism, as you guys know. So my government would invest heavily in not just providing entrepreneurial education, but creating a culture of entrepreneurialism. And some of the examples I said is, at the time, the U.S. government was very much against the gig economy. So this idea, like, at the time, Uber was bad. Why was Uber bad? Well, taxis are good. Well, taxis suck. It's a classic example. Taxis suck. They were the only place it ever worked. It was New York City. Everywhere else in America, you couldn't catch a cab on a Saturday night after the nightclubs closed. San Francisco was crazy bad. Okay. So then, but this idea that you can be a driver and drive whenever you want, especially, I noticed early on many Uber drivers, if not most Uber drivers, were women. And I'm like, wow, I was really concerned about their security. But it turned out, dude, the flex hours, that's what they wanted. It gave them freedom. I'm like, wow, this is really good, right? So this idea of entrepreneurialism, supporting entrepreneurialism, but creating a culture. And then the second one is, what would I want to do to redistribute income so that we can close the income inequality gap? And I would have taxes, of course. And I do believe in education and childcare. Okay, that's great. But one of the things I looked at was, or one of the things I proposed was in a 2-couple family with children. And I did put marriage as a requirement, not just live-in friends. Okay. So whatever's. Because it's a commitment. It's long-term. I mean, dude, it's contractual, right? So here's a household now that are contractually obligated to stay together for a long period of time. And breach of contract is very expensive, as some of you guys know. But anyways, you take a household now, and the household grows. The household is productive and produces a child. My government would pay for one of those adults to stay home and run the household. And which is interesting because I'm paying somebody to raise the kid, take care of the house, shop for healthy food, all this kind of stuff. And part of that was measuring the household work in GDP. Washing dishes is productive. Doing the laundry is productive. Okay? Driving your kid to the soccer game or to school or to science Olympiad practice or to tutoring is productive. And I would measure that in GDP. So imagine this paper I wrote, right? And so long story short, there's big investment back into the productive side of society. Interesting concept though, huh? Driving your kid to science Olympiad practice. Dude, I put in so many hours. I must have put in hundreds of hours into science Olympiad. Okay. One year, my son won the state championship for bridge building. In a different year, my daughter won the state championship for rocket building. Do you know how many hours I put into that? And how many hours my wife put into that? Being the coach. My wife was the coach of the rocket team. I was the coach of the bridge building team. Hundreds of hours. And that we will probably have productive children, which means there was a return on investment. There will be a return on investment for all of society because my kids probably won't end up in jail. Now you might say, well, there's a bit of a bias to that. You were born white, cis male, and rich. Well, I'll say, well, I wasn't born rich. I was actually born poor. But then I still have these advantages, cis white male. Well, what am I supposed to do about that? I better be productive. If I'm born with those inherent privileges, then I might as well take advantage of it because it'll be better for all of society. Okay? But then I don't know if that's entirely true because I have gay white male friends and they're successful. And I have black male friends and they're also successful. And I have female friends that are successful. But okay, so whatever. Maybe I'm born. I was just born in a rich country. Well, I was born in Canada, in a small town in rural Canada where nobody was rich. And I've shown people my town. It doesn't look that nice. So wait, well, so whatever. I think the key is my whole entire life since I was probably 11, I've worked. I've bought all my school supplies and clothes since the 4th grade or 5th grade, somewhere in there. Cool. Dollar on the move? Yeah, well, I've already covered all of that. It's supposed to be. Look, once again, what are we looking at here, guys? It's the first thing I covered. That's where the dollar is going to get strong. We knew that 2-3 days ago. I mean, yeah. What we don't know is does it kick up or drop down? Well, that I can't tell you, but like, it's supposed to fall here, dude. Of course. Hey, right on. Thanks. Thanks, Russ. What's the name of your town? I don't know. I'm not going to agree or disagree. What can I say? I can't respond to that. Ultimately, I am a cis white male. Did you hear? Harvard's in trouble right now. They're getting sued because they're racist. They decide partially who goes to Harvard. Because remember, it's a private institution. So theoretically, they can take whoever the hell they want for any reason they want. It's okay. So anyways, it's well documented now where they're like, all right, we have too many Asians. They're all smart. If Harvard took all the smart people, they'd all be Asian. And now I'm going to be called a racist. But this is what, so Harvard looks at it and says, whoa. We want some rich kids. We want some poor kids. We want some Asian kids. We want some black kids. We want this kid and that kid. And they mix it up on purpose. And usually what they're looking for is ambition and leadership and vision. And they're kind of looking for who's going to be the leader of the next big company, the next country, all this kind of stuff. And that's kind of what they're looking for is unique people. But Harvard's in trouble because they make part of their selection process is definitely race. One of my friends that went to Harvard with me, he's a very, very successful banker in Canada. And his kids are super smart and talented and driven. And his daughter was accepted at Harvard but put on the wait list because they don't tell you why. But most likely the quota was already hit. They're like, you're smart enough to come to Harvard, but we have too many Asian girls. They didn't say that, but everybody knows, right? You're like, sorry, wrong race. But now Harvard's in trouble for that. But I don't know. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know. I just don't know. And so we'll see how society responds to that on the long term. Russ says, how much will it take for me to join the swing trading group? Well, $88 is to join boot camp, and then the swing trading group is $99 a month. So it's not too complicated. So there's the town I spent many years in. Look at this. See? There's nothing. And sitting in this town, I said, I want to see the entire world. I want to do amazing things. I want to be a big business person. I didn't even know what that meant. But I said, I want to see and change the world. I want to go to operas and symphonies. I want to go to fancy restaurants. I mean, I had no concept. I just wanted more. Okay. So I think you need to, or we all do, not you, but we all need to make a decision at some point in our life and want to change everything. I think it's just sort of a requirement. You got to get there, right? You want to change everything. And I've met a lot of successful people, and I've had a reasonable amount of success, but I don't think it ever comes easy. Right? That you have to change everything, and despite what all the people around you tell you, that's funny. Google Earth is now blocked. Okay, I guess that'll work. I'll show you this. I'll show you the place where I grew up. And it's actually the spot I stood on. Okay. I stood on this spot and I said, I'm getting out. And I want to see the world. I want to be a big business person. And I just, that was as vague as it was, right? I'll show you the spot. I was standing right here. Right in front of these trucks. Okay? Literally right on that spot, right there. Okay? I stood right here. Isn't this beautiful? I was standing right there, and I said, I want to leave. My mother worked in this bank. Look how beautiful this town is. Okay? Beautiful. When I lived here, there was only one street light, by the way. So it's grown big. Okay? So I stood on that spot. Okay? Raised by a single mother, married to an asshole that lived and grew up in this town. Okay? Cool. 3 or 4 years later is when I was working with George Soros. Okay? I was attending board meetings on Wall Street. Okay? And look at this. Just, there's nothing, guys. There's nothing there. Not a lot of privilege. I certainly wasn't rich, and I certainly didn't come from a society of people that taught me how to be rich and sophisticated and think big. That's not where I come from. But it can be done. Okay? But there's nothing fancy about that. Cool. So that's a little bit about me. I'm looking forward to your success stories about how you changed your world. Remember, the way you change the world is to change your world first. I always think of it this way. You know, when you're on an airplane and they say if the air masks come down, put the mask on yourself first and then help the person next to you? That's how you change the world. You need to change yours first and then help people around you. Do you understand that philosophy that I've been living for 30 years now? Okay. Start with yourself. Get this business opportunity in control. Take it from me. I was a venture capitalist. I've looked at thousands of business plans. This is the best one I've ever seen by far, and that is trading Forex. So that's worth the investment of your time and your money. It's worth it. I'm telling you, this is it. And once you get this under control and you run this like a business, you will earn income and you'll be able to have excess income. And hopefully, as you learn about money and finance, you'll save your excess wealth and make that money productive, and it'll give you a higher return on the long run. And you will go from you'll go from maybe where you are now to suddenly getting Forex under control, and then you'll be rich. And then you'll get your money under control and you'll become wealthy. And then you'll be more worried about your children and your aunts and uncles and your loved ones. And then pretty soon that'll grow and maybe you'll be spending most of your time giving back. But it all starts with, before you change the world, you got to change your world. And so hopefully if I do anything as your sort of coach and mentor, it's to help you achieve that first step. And that's changing your world. And I hope I've convinced you that this is an opportunity worth your time and investment, the investment of your time, the investment of your money, so on and so forth, because it's the greatest one I've ever seen. And I've been screaming that on the, from the rooftops now on YouTube for 14 years, and from into society in general for almost 20. So hopefully, I think some of you have heard me, and hopefully a few other people have heard me as well. And the best thing about Forex that I like is it doesn't care if you're black, white, Chinese, Hispanic, whatever, right? It just doesn't care. Doesn't care if you're a man or a woman. Doesn't care who you make love to. Doesn't care who your daddy is. Doesn't even care really if you're trading your own money. It doesn't care what school you went to. Now, I think when you get to institutional levels, these things become maybe more important. But nonetheless, whether you're to be a success in Forex, right? There's not like a sign somewhere that says, well, you're a gay black woman, so not you. There's no sign on the club door that says that. Okay? So this used to be for rich, white, cis males only. It was old, rich, cis white males only. But that's been taken off. This is retail. You need an internet connection and a computer. Your age doesn't matter. Your sex doesn't matter. Your race doesn't matter. What you're going to need is a ridiculous, sickening work ethic and the desire and passion to do it right. And I'll leave you with that. And I will see you in the day trading group later tonight at 7 p.m. to trade the Asia Open. At 2 a.m., the pre-European session starts with Ryan. And then for everybody else, I will see you tomorrow in the morning. Can we do WTI? I already did WTI. So just hit rewind, Dre. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May our profits be above